we welcome you live to the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series, season number 4 race from Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're officially all up and running. Welcome live to Atlanta here tonight in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. It is the 5th race of the Cup Series season, of course. And then, of course, we had the Xfinity Series last night. What a race that was. Absolutely intense all day long. We expect maybe similar stuff towards the end of tonight's race, but definitely going to be a whole, probably a whole lot more stable than those Xfinity Series cars were a night ago. As we welcome you live to the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series, it is race number 70 all time in the Cup Series during points-paying races. And of course, we welcome you live to the broadcast booth. I am, of course, is your commentator, as always, Ethan Trendler. And we are officially all up and running here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Cars will be on the racetrack for the half-hour warm-up session coming up in just a few moments. Then, of course, we're going to have a one-lap qualifying like that was tested in the Xfinity Series last night. Of course, for all super speedway races, including Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta, and iRacing Super Speedway. We'll now have one lap of qualifying only. Other tracks will still have the 2 laps qualifying like usual, like mile and a half, every other short track, all the normal other ovals. But for super speedways, it is just 1 lap of qualifying for now. Of course, this is Atlanta for the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. It is 5th race of the Cup Series season. Of course, last week we had an off week. The week before we were in Fontana, and what a finish we saw there between Connor Asbell, Matthew White, Payson Lindsay, some others as well. What a race from Atlanta Motor Speedway, or Auto Fontana, that we saw before. All right, cars rolling on to the racetrack from Atlanta Motor Speedway, welcoming you live to the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series from Atlanta. Cars are on the racetrack. Up to the outside lane. First one on track is that number 7 of Matthew White. Here comes your winner in Fontana, Dylan Banks, and of course, what an insane... Dylan Banks, Connor Asbell, and of course, what an insane fashion he took victory from the Auto Club Speedway. There's that 09 of John Butler through the grass a bit. He's coming on to the racetrack. Matthew White heading down the back straightaway. We are underway in this warm-up session from Atlanta here in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. Of course, tonight's race will be held under the lights as well. Starting off kind of towards the later part of the afternoon here in Atlanta for the warm-up session. There's John Butler heading down the front stretch in that 09. And down in the 1 and 2 he goes. Here comes Matthew White heading down the front straightaway to the line to put down his first time on the board. All right. All right, so having connection issues there with Matthew White. There is the 09 of John Butler. So, of course, cars on the racetrack. Here comes Connor Asbell, Payson Lindsay, a couple others there as well. Heading on to the track through 1 and 2. All right, so of course, cars on track here in the warm-up session at Atlanta. Still 24 minutes to go here in the warm-up session. Another thing to mention is that, of course, the fuel situation. Now cars are going to be having 80% fuel load for the race, so that'll give you about 50 or so laps of fuel. And if the first half goes green, that is not enough, so you would definitely have to make a green flag pit stop, as they will rack down into 1 and 2, or 3 and 4, I should say. iRacing is being really annoying. Car on the racetrack here, that is the 37 White Youngblood, of course. full-time in the Xfinity Series, making one of his select part-time Cup starts here tonight. Cameron Chandler comes down pit road. There is the 12 of Trenton Wilkin. 48 of Dylan Banks currently on pit road. There's that 77 Braden Hunsicker. Of course, Hunsicker, he's had an interesting season so far. Got caught up, had a mechanical issue in Fontana early in the race. That actually set him pretty far back and finished multiple laps down. So going to need somewhat of a comeback here tonight in Atlanta. So Lindsay moves down to the inside to get around him. Here's the 22. That is Carlos Ortiz in one of his part-time select starts. Coming onto the racetrack, there is the 8 of Cameron Chandler. You got Matthew White drafting here down the back straightaway with the 12 of Trenton Wilkin. There's that 71 of Cole Clausen currently on the apron. So iRacing is really, really being annoying right now. Not really sure what's going on with our connection. One quick second. All right, so hopefully we should be back live here if everything actually wants to work now. I think we're back up 22 minutes to go here in the warm-up session. Here's the 72 of Connor Asbell heading down the back straightaway. On the racetrack currently as he'll pull off. Trenton Wilkin in that Gatorade machine ahead of the 7 of Matthew White as they will roll down the front straightaway. It's Wilkin top of the board so far here in Atlanta. Ooh, there is that 7 of White. Going off the track upside down he goes on his lid. Here comes Landon Johnson on the racetrack in that number 88 machine for his own team. Of course, Johnson Motorsports, they of course have that alliance with ETR. All right. And here is Chandler.
Cole Clausen dead on the backstretch.
As Lindsay's also involved, another car down there, that's Andrew Stacy, and there's Clausen in the wall. There's a 37 of White Youngblood. Here's the 29 of Richard Cherry, currently on pit road. There's that 8 of Cameron Chandler. A couple more Chevrolets up here. All right. Ashton's got to fix the scheme here. Wrong paint scheme. He's got the 24 on him for some reason. Try to reload trading paints real quick. Still underway here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Alright. Here comes Connor Havrilla in that number 50 heading down the back straightaway. Alright, so we're having more technical difficulties. Apparently, that's all that happens this season.
Even hey, can you do a favor for me?
Yeah.
Can you open the Train Paint TY and click re-download all paints?
Yeah, I did already.
Okay, because I'm not supposed to be the 24.
That is fixed.
It changed. Okay, thank God.
Alright, so we should be back here live once again. I really hope that everything's actually working for once. Back live here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. These two cars roll down in the backstretch. There's Ashton Miller ahead of him. Alright. So hopefully we're all lined up here once again. Alright, so cars heading down the front straightaway. There is Matthew Way ahead of Dylan Banks and that 79 of Ashton Miller. Oh, there's one car spinning in front of the field. As they wreck down here in 3 and 4. Multiple cars involved. There's Cameron Chandler getting absolutely slammed into.
Ethan, I need two people to get accepted to the league.
Who?
They're in general.
Alright, Alright. So 3 wide here as they all come off of pit road. Oh, and the wall goes Benton on the back straightaway. And he is almost going to get slammed. Everyone luckily avoids him. Oh, there's Hilkwich to get into him now. And he will wreck down here through 3 and 4. And the wrecking here, John Butler goes around. There's the 29 of Richard Cherry as well. He's involved. Alright, so still about 15 minutes to go here in the warm-up session. From Atlanta Motor Speedway. You see there's the 29 of Richard Cherry. And heading down the back straightaway is the 81 of Sean Hilkwich. All right. So here is Dylan Banks heading. All right, so once again, here is Dylan Banks heading through 3 and 4 here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. There's that 9 of Bryce Benson up on the outside. You got the 80 of Logan Giesbert rolling off of pit road. There's the 50 of Connor Havrilla. He is currently on the pits. There's that 22. Cole Wilson. Oh, one car spinning. And there is Wyatt Youngblood going on through. Into the wall goes Bryce Benson.
Hi, Ethan.
Hi, Dylan. Hey, Dylan.
That is not me on track.
It's sweet.
There's an imposter.
Who is... that's Rivera, I think. Okay, we're having a couple of issues here early on in the broadcast. Of course, 12 minutes left to go. We have also two 22 cars for whatever reason, because Ortiz apparently decided he can run the 22.
Yes, that is Rivera, by the way.
Rivera is supposed to be in the 19, so...
That's a nice scheme that he's got.
You got the patriotic machine here, but should be the 19 for Matthew Rivera. As yeah, while you're in here, Dylan, let's we won't get a quick interview. So of course, it hasn't been the greatest start of the season for you guys. You currently sit, I believe, 10th in overall points, kind of right there on the playoff cut lane. What is going to be your plan here tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway to try to get into a better point situation?
Maximize situations. Just try to maximize everything, get the most points out of the day as possible. That's the big goal. You can't win every race, but you can maximize your points the best you can to get as many points as you can to help your situation. I know I missed a couple races, did half of Auto Club and had to leave abruptly. But I will say we don't give up here. We joined late in the season last year and won the championship. So it's all about consistency and being there at the end of the year. So we're gonna do everything we can tonight to bring ETR out on top. Got a lot of alliances and a lot of ETR boys running tonight. So just try to stick together, stay out front. One of us try to win this thing, I guess.
All right, so good luck here coming up in the race, Dylan.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good one, Cole.
Thank you.
All right, give us a quick second. We'll be live here once again. All right, back live here once again from Atlanta Motor Speedway. All right. So back live here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. About 9 minutes still left to go in the warm-up session. There is Connor Havrilla heading down into 1 and 2. Ahead of him is the Carlos Ortiz machine. There is the that is the 23. That is Tyler Stevenson. He's making his NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series debut here tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Rest in peace to everyone.
Okay. course, Stevenson full-time in the Xfinity Series. But he'll be making his first ever Cup start tonight. There is Payson Lindsay crashing down pit road. You got the 9 of Bryce Benson, the 12 of Trenton Wilk, and the 22 of Cole Wilson. There's that 7 of Matthew White, and we got more cars here rolling off pit road. Still about 8 minutes to go in the warm-up session. Alright. Here comes Cole Clausen rolling down to the back straightaway into 3 and 4. Tyler Stevenson now across the line. He goes. There's Andrew Stacy in at 96. Ooh, as we see Ashton Miller down on the apron. All right, so qualifying, of course, coming up next. From Atlanta Motor Speedway. So still 6 minutes here left to go in the warm-up session. As they head back on to the racetrack here. So looking at the timing sheet, sorry, we've been kind of all over the place. Been kind of a chaotic warm-up session off of the track, but still 5 minutes here to go in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series warm-up session from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Cars will roll here down to the back straightaway. There is that 79 of Ashton Miller, 81 of Sean Hogan. So of course, qualifying coming up next here in Atlanta, we see some drivers having some pit practice. So, of course, you will enter pit road on the back straightaway. Rule change in Atlanta. So, cars will enter pit road down the backstretch. They will head through 3 and 4 on the apron, and then you see 4 cars making pit practice here. And there is the 93. That is Aiden Walker. Of course, you obviously will remember him. From prior NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series seasons. He has 11 career victories in the Cup Series, making a part-time series start here tonight for Cole Chandler Wilson Racing. There's the 09 of John Butler. There is the 81. That is Sean Hilquich. Rolls on to the racetrack, the 09 of John Butler heading to his inside. All right, Cole Clausen, so about 3 minutes here left to go in the warm-up session. You've, of course, been on the racetrack for a while. You currently sit 19th on the board. How's the feel here at Atlanta, and how does it compare to the Xfinity Series so far?
Yeah, I think the cars are a lot more stable than the Xfinity cars. You know, honestly, Xfinity cars were kind of sliding around last night. This feels a lot more comfortable, honestly. So, should be a fun race as long as I'm not braking for a crash and some guy behind me goes full ARCA brakes on me, just like what happened last night. But hopefully, we can get a good result here.
All right, well, good luck, Cole, in the race here tonight.
Thank you.
Oh, as to the inside goes that number 8 of Cameron Chandler. And of course, Cameron Chandler, last week in Fontana had a pretty rough, or 2 weeks ago in Fontana. Oh, he's going to get turned down the front straightaway, but he had, of course, a very, very rough outing. Got involved in that wreck with Gary Smith.
Oh my God.
The big one. 2 minutes to go here in the warm-up session. Let's go through some of your point situations right now. So, of course, Matthew White, your current points leader. Bryce Benton, he has had a fantastic season so far on speed. The number 9 machine for Team Chevy Motor Club has been quick all season long. He is just looking for his first career victory. He currently sits P2 in the points. Chandler Miller, Hunsaker, your top 5. But Connor Haverla has had a great season, currently 6th in the points. Looking on the playoff cut lane, you got Matt Grab, just ahead of Pace and Lindsay at 99. Trenton Wilkin currently sits below the playoff cut line. He's one to watch here tonight. Same thing with Logan Giesbrecht. And Gary Smith, after his penalty, currently sits 20th in points. And there's the 9 of Bryce Benton through the grass. All right. There is Giesbrecht in the wall. And we roll down to 30 seconds to go here in the warm-up session. Okay, checkered flag in the air here in the warm-up session. It is time to qualify here in Atlanta. As we welcome you live to NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series Atlanta Motor Speedway qualifying. Time to see who's going to be sitting on pole. So, of course, new qualifying format, 1 lap for pole position. Here comes Milo Lively onto the racetrack with 77 of Braden Hunsaker. There's that 37 of White Youngblood. You got the 7 of Matthew White, the 50 of Connor Haverla. There's Andrew Stacy in the 96. There is that number 72. That is Connor Asbell. And down in the front straightaway goes Asbell into turn number 1. poles down the back straightaway, your winner in Fontana 2 weeks ago. Here's Ashton Miller heading 3 and 4. So, of course, it is just one lap for the pole. To the line goes Wilkin in that number 12. Across the line he goes. Starting his lap time. Down to the back straightaway in the 3 and 4 goes Matthew Rivera on the outside. There's that 99 of Payson Lindsay. Connor Aswell so far top of the board. Ashton Miller is second. Andrew Stacy is third. Matthew White to the top of the board. Connor Havrilla is now 8th. There's Cherry on the apron. Youngblood will back it down. There's Andrew Stacy in the 96. Braden Hunsicker now to the top of the board. Payson Lindsay is second. Cole Wilson third. To the line goes Wilkin. He is second. Across the line goes Hilkwich in the 81. He, I believe, is just starting his lap time. Wilkin is done. There is Carlos Ortiz. There's Richard Cherry heading through 3 and 4. Rivera is second. Great qualifying effort so far for him. Across the line goes Cherry to start his lap. Hilkwich coming to the line to the checkered flag for the driver of the 81. Across the line he goes. It's 7th for Hilkwich. Through 3 and 4 goes Richard Cherry in the 29. So far on provisional pole, it is Braden Hunsicker. Down the back straightaway goes Dylan Banks on his qualifying lap. Through turns number 3 and 4 he goes. Across the line goes Dylan Banks. Here he comes to the checkered flag. Banks is third. Great qualifying effort for the driver of the 48. 23 of Tyler Stevenson looking like he's going to be rolling down on the apron.
What a lap by Aiden Walker. 1 minute and 52 seconds. That is fast.
New track record. "53 seconds remain here in qualifying, but I believe it is just about over. No one else on track. That will most likely give pole position to the driver of the number 77, Braden Hunsicker. He's on pole here in Atlanta. And, of course, qualifying is now officially over from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, just ticking down to 15 seconds to go. And we'll be underway here from Atlanta. This is the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. Hunsicker wins pole. He definitely going to be looking for a good run here tonight. As we welcome you live to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series Season number 4 race from Atlanta. Let's go through your starting grid real quick. Of course, it all rolls across the left side of your screen. So on pole position, of course, the driver of the 77 Hunsicker, starting to his outside, will be Matthew Rivera in the 19. Dylan Banks, Trenton Wilkin will line up in row number 2. Then you got Payson Lindsay, Bryce Benton, Cole Wilson, Matthew White. White kind of a surprisingly not great qualifying effort. Usually, especially at super speedways, he is way at the front. Sean Hilkich, Richard Cherry will line up in a row number 4, and you get the rest of your top 20 and the rest of the field rolling across the left side of your screen. All right, it is Atlanta, and we welcome you live to the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series race from the Atlanta Motor Speedway here in season number 4. Sun is setting in the background. We are ready to go racing from Atlanta. Cars gridding here tonight. 130 laps, halfway break going to be at the end of lap number 62. 200 miles, fuel window about 50 to 52 laps. And we should expect it, if they go green all the way like they have the last couple of weeks for the first half, we should expect green flag pit stop as they roll onto the racetrack, welcoming you live to the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So cars will come to check pit road speed this time by. As they roll under the sunset, Braden Hunsinger, of course, starting on pole position. All right, Cole Clausen, I know I ask you this all the time, but it is Atlanta. What do we expect to see here early in this race?
I hope it's a little bit calm, but I feel like it's going to be a pretty wild race. Got about 25 cars in this field, so could get pretty intense at times, but just looking for a good point stay overall because we are pretty close to that cut line, even though playoffs are still miles away, but hopefully it's a fun night.
Yeah, as they will roll down here on the apron. Of course, that new pit road entrance here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. That will be used for all times here in tonight's Cup Series event. Of course, you're going to have the choose cone on the front straightaway during restarts, not during this actual start. Braden Hunsinger will elect the outside lane to his, or inside lane to his outside. Will be, of course, Matthew Rivera in that number 19. As they will roll down to pit road speed to check their pit boxes. It is race number 5 of the Cup Series season, and it all gets underway here tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway as they'll come to sweep around and check their pit road. And cars back here as well, trying to do it. A couple of cars actually came down into their pit boxes. As they will roll to the end of the field, your leader, the 77 of Braden Hunsinger. All right, this is Atlanta. What a race it was a season ago. Ended up with the most overtime finishes in NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series history. It's also the reason we have, also one of the reasons we do have now 3 overtime attempts only. Cars rolling through 3 and 4. The 5th race of the Cup Series season ready to get underway. It'll be terrible point stays for drivers like Matt Grab, Gary Smith, some others not going to be able to start here tonight in Atlanta. But the pace car will make that hard left turn down the pit road. The season number 4 Cup Series race in Atlanta is underway. Side by side, nearly now clear for the race lead is Braden Hunsinger on the outside. He will lead the opening lap. Of course, he won the pole in the Xfinity Series last night as well, and he wins pole position here in the Cup Series. Hunsinger leads lap 1. on his inside there on the bottom. You see the 48 of Dylan Banks to the outside. Momentum kind of dying for the 19 of Matthew Rivera. Trying to make something work on that outside lane. They're side by side here as Banks pushes Hunsicker nearly clear. Of course, you can't go below that double red and white line to advance your position. Through 1 and 2 they go yet again early in the race. Lap number 3 underway. You got Pace and Lindsay on that inside lane. Outside starting to kind of get unformed up there. As they head down the backstretch, you got Bryce Benson all over the back bumper of Matthew Rivera on that outside lane. Matthew White trying to get up there as well, trying to side drive Richard Cherry in the 29. Head down the front stretch yet again, kind of single file for the top 4 or 5. Back down into 1 and 2. There is your current leader, Braden Hunsicker, in the 77. They head through turns 3 and 4 yet again. Five laps into Atlanta. Dylan Banks still all over the back bumper of the driver of the 77. We see Cole Wilson making an aggressive move to the inside. Of course, he won the Xfinity race last night, but not without controversy. Remember, got himself turned off the nose of your other leader early in the race there. It was Braden Hunsicker. That was on lap number 2. We're all green so far, coming to lap number 6 here in Atlanta. Through turns number 1 and 2, they will go yet again. Strong race so far for the inside lane. We got about maybe 20 or so cars on that inside in this main group. Including this group, you see Connor Aswell down to the inside, currently running 12th. Johnson currently running in 13th place. You got Carlos Ortiz, who currently runs 14th there on the outside lane, as they kind of get dicey back here, almost 3 wide towards the back half. To the middle of the field. There's 3 Chevrolets up front. You got a Toyota down on the inside lane, pushing on the bumper of Cole Wilson. And through turns 3 and 4, they will go yet again. Kind of now having some separation. You can see Andrew Stacy kind of separating himself from Wyatt Youngblood and Connor Aswell there on the outside lane. Almost contact as Lindsay tries to side draft Cole Wilson there on the 22. He'll fall back on that outside lane to the bumper of Matthew White he goes. Also got Rivera falling back on that outside as well, as they get a bit dicey up on the top. Almost contact Sean Hilquich in the 81. Cherry working that inside lane as well as they come back to the line to start lap number 9. 3 wide through 1 and 2. Matthew White through the middle of the field. You got almost contact. Matthew Rivera there on the outside lane. Andrew Stacy through the middle of the bottom. Connor Aswell now in the middle. To that inside lane is Wyatt Young with his Matthew Rivera going to fall all the way back to about 18th, 19th place. One driver back there running currently 21st is Cameron Chandler. Last car in this main pack there in the 8th. Currently still leading, as he has been doing all race long, is the 77 of Braden Hunsicker. So far here in Atlanta, we have seen cars be a whole lot more stable than we saw last night in the Xfinity Series race. Of course, they were all over the racetrack in last night's Xfinity race. Now we've seen kind of the inside be able to prevail so far early on. Sun beginning to set. Track conditions will change as well. Pace and Lindsay nearly getting split 3 wide by Matthew White. Connor Aswell there on the outside as well. They roll down the front stretch. 1-2 they go yet again here at Atlanta. Got a lap car already in the way. That's the 50 of Connor Haverilla. Looks like he lost the draft early on. Others that lost the draft, you got Lively. Also, I think John Butler just fell off the end of the field. Tyler Stevenson, some others as well. As they come to lap number 13. We've been all under green so far here in Atlanta. 13 laps in. We'll get to the bumper of Haverilla, who should probably move up to the outside lane, which she will do. And we'll let the leaders race around him through 3 and 4. Of course, Atlanta Motor Speedway, NASCAR's newest drafting style race, is up to the outside goes Haverilla once again as they head down the front straightaway. Will go one lap down. Currently does have the free pass position, but of course with Tyler Stevenson and John Butler falling off of the main pack, that could be in jeopardy, especially if we go green to the end of the stage. All right, Cole Clausen, I know you're currently, I think, running 17 or 18. What is the fuel situation looking like right now, 15 laps into Atlanta?
Looks like we have 38 laps of fuel left.
So that will definitely not be enough to make it to the halfway break like we expected with the new 80% fuel capacity. So we probably, if we stay under green here for the first half, probably going to see all your leaders come down pit road to just top off. That is if we stay green this first half. Of course, it's a whole lot easier to stay green when you're not in a big old pack like they are up front here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, 16 laps in. Now working to the outside lane with Cherry. Outside starting to kind of form back up here. Cherry on the bumper of Cole Wilson. He'll drop high. He's now going to side draft Dylan Banks for that second spot. Yet Wilkin down in the bottom as well. Your Cup Series stars head down the front stretch yet again. Asbell on that outside lane. He's got, I think, a bit of front end damage as well already here for the driver. The 72, he drops out of line. That leaves Aiden Walker up there with the 48 of Matthew Rivera. And just as it started forming up, the outside will die yet again. Cars will drop down to the inside. They roll down the front stretch yet again here at Atlanta. Probably we'll see Cole Wilson trying to find a place in line as they head back through 1 and 2. Walker pushes Wilson here down the back straightaway. Of course, Aiden Walker has the second most NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series wins of all time. Connor Asbell looking to let Cole Wilson in line, but he is not going down low just yet. That is kind of killing that group on the inside. Connor Asbell on back. Wilson gets a shove here down the back straightaway by his teammate Aiden Walker. All over the back bumper is that number 93 on the 22. Wilson almost going to drop back in line ahead of Connor Asbell. Now he will nearly clear him. Has to stay on the outside lane, heading down the front stretch yet again. 20 laps into Atlanta, still early on from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. 43 laps to go in the half here from Atlanta. Of course, like we mentioned, is Tyler Stevenson now being in jeopardy of being put a lap down. Like we mentioned, as 3 ETR cars work down the inside lane. The other one is about to be put a lap down, but with Tyler Stevenson in that 23. Like we mentioned, we will have a green flag pit stops if they are able to stay on the green for the entire first half. So this is something we did not see in the Xfinity Series last night whatsoever. I mean, they really couldn't do it all with how loose those cars were. We see mostly single file running here early on in the race. Now dropping outside is Matthew White ahead of Richard Cherry. There's Connor Asbell dropping up to the outside lane. Nobody going with those two. You're going to need friends, especially on the outside lane, as they will go to lap Stevenson, who does not move out of the way. He will keep his machine on the bottom of the racetrack. Oh, he's in a bad spot here ahead of Cole Wilson. He will now drop. Oh, what is he doing? He wrecks Wilson and Connor Esbell down the back straightaway. The caution is going to come out, and he collects the 71 of Cole Clausen. There's Ashton Miller also involved. What a horrible, horrible move by the driver of the 23. That was horrible. I mean, what is he doing? That was just pathetic. Lap car, I don't understand what that was. Just turns him. What is he doing? I mean, I have never seen anything so awful. Then he collects the 71 of Clausen, the 79 of Miller. That's also going to ruin strategy. Man, that is pathetic. I'm sorry, but that was horrible.
Yeah, he should have been suspended after the move he made in the Xfinity race last night, but hopefully he's banned for life now, because that is by far one of the worst moves I've ever seen.
I mean,
And now I'm done.
Oh my God, unbelievable. I mean, you don't do that. That is terrible. He put a lap down. Man, what was that? So now your leaders will pit. This will completely ruin the strategy, of course. So we should have your leaders pitting here. Everybody coming down pit road. I believe Braden Hunsaker may have missed pit road. Is off pit road first. It will be the 48 of Dylan Banks. Second will be Hilquich. Third going to be Richard Cherry. I don't think Wilkin pitted either. Havarilla, of course, being pit a lap down. All right. So you still got. How bad is the damage, Cole?
I have about a little less than 6 minutes of optionals left right now.
All right, and then you got Cole Wilson also just pretty torn up. Connor Asbell, your winner. Ian Fontana with damage. So now, of course, as they missed pit road, you're going to see Braden Hunsaker and the 12 of Trenton Wilkin come down pit road to service their race cars. And I believe the choose is coming up this time by. That'll give the lead to Richard Cherry as they come to the choose. Kind of inside, outside for a lot. The cars more going outside here. See Bryce Benton kind of dropping on back. So we'll be back underway on lap number 26 here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. On the front row will be Richard Cherry on the inside, too. His outside is going to be Aiden Walker. So going to be back underway. First caution flag currently on the night. Back underway on lap 26. So one car will be taken out of the race. That'll be Tyler Stevenson himself. Luckily, everybody else has damage, but nobody else going to be taken out in the race, but that definitely will pretty much ruin pit strategy for the end of the half. All right. Ready to get back underway on lap 26. Pace car comes back down pit road. Cherry on the inside, Walker on the outside as they come back to the Geico restart zone. We're back underway in Atlanta. Side by side for the lead. Cherry on the inside lane. Walker has momentum with Matthew White on his back bumper. They head door to door, heading down the back straightaway. Big push to the outside. Aiden Walker going for the lead. Nearly clear on the bottom. Through 3 and 4 they go. got Andrew Stacy still all over the back bumper of that number 29, Richard Cherry, to the line. I believe Aiden Walker will lead his first lap since season number 2. And he's clear. Matthew White gets him out front. Big shove down to the inside. New leader in Atlanta, Aiden Walker in the 93. Side by side behind him, you see Carlos Ortiz on the outside. There's Richard Cherry. Down on the inside lane, Andrew Stacy dropping down low as well. He needs a good point stay. Enters tonight 25th in the standings. So you got this main group of cars, then you got Ashton Miller kind of dropping off back there. You can see Haverilla leading a couple of damaged cars, I believe. And then, of course, Aiden Walker leading the field. Matthew White, though, looking to the inside lane, bails on his former teammate. To the inside, door-to-door for the race lead in Atlanta. White works his way down low. Cherry on his bumper. You got Andrew Stacy lined up down low on the inside as well. Almost contact as Cherry moves to the door of Walker. .30 laps in to Atlanta. Matthew White leading down on that inside lane. Aiden Walker, momentum still coming on that outside. He's got the 22 of Carlos Ortiz all over his back bumper. Ortiz gets him a bit of a bad push heading down the front straightaway. Ooh, Hilkich getting out of line back there as well. Big shove once again. Carlos Ortiz all over the back bumper of Aiden Walker. You'll clear low and retake the lead of it in Atlanta, but to the outside once again goes Ortiz. Carlos Ortiz, of course, dropped down full time to the Xfinity Series this season. Clears Aiden Walker. Walker still all over his back bumper, pushes him out slightly, heading down the back straightaway yet again. You see Dylan Banks pushing Matthew Rivera there on that outside lane. Sean Hilquich lined up there as well. Trenton Wilkin, 3 ETR cars. Now to the outside once again, it was Aiden Walker bailing on Carlos Ortiz. He'll now have Rivera on his bumper. Side by side back into 1 and 2. Oh, nearly contact. Ortiz loose on the bottom. White has to check up, so does Cherry. The inside lane really getting deformed. Now they're nearly 3 wide. Hilquist down there on the outside lane. We see Reagan falling back and nearly a crash at the front of the field. Luckily, they all are able to hang on to it. Aiden Walker, your current leader, coming to lap 34 here in Atlanta. Big block up to the outside by Carlos Ortiz once again. He's been aggressive. He's always been good in these plate races in the past in the Cup Series. As he side drafts Matthew White heading down the backstretch. So well over halfway until the halfway break comes out from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. 35 laps in of 130. We've had 1 caution flag so far. That, of course, was with the lap car Tyler Stevenson wrecking towards the back of the field. Momentum back around the outside. Here comes Carlos Ortiz. Dylan Banks all over his back bumper. He will push that number 22 clear into 1 and 2. Banks still all over his back bumper. Now will move down to the inside. Hilquich goes with him. So does Wilkin. 3 ETR cars all working together to try to take the lead once again on the inside. Ortiz drops into line. So it's been kind of an odd race so far. Of course, not as many cars started as we were going to thought. We were going to have maybe at least 30 cars here tonight. Unfortunately, only 25. And we had issues with other things going on, so kind of an issue-plagued night so far. As we are 37 laps in. You got this main pack up front. Then we look back here. We got a couple of other little packs. Then you got a big snake heading down the back straightaway. That is Cole Wilson there in the 22 with damage, of course. Wyatt Youngblood is well involved. Sorry, that was Landon Johnson back there. Dylan Banks leading down in the back straightaway. Of course, he won a stage at Kentucky. That's really his only highlight all season long. DNF'd in Atlanta, DNF'd in the Daytona 500. Had no, or Auto Club I should say, had no speed in Fontana. But currently leading here from Atlanta, with two of his teammates down in that inside lane. Teamwork is the big thing that's going to be able to prevail you out front. Is what a shove up to the outside by Aiden Walker. He pushes Carlos Ortiz to the race lead. He'll be side by side, drafting that 22. Matthew White still all over his back bumper. Oh, contact! Big shove. Walker and White get together. The two all-time wins leader in the Cup Series. On the outside lane, they make nearly go around on the outside. Now bailing on the 22, Ortiz is Dylan Banks. He will retake the lead. He's got Sean Hilquist there on the 81. Aiden Walker lining up to the outside as well. 3 wide nearly behind him. Banks clears down on the inside in front of the 81 Hilquist. Now they got a car separating them and Trenton Wilkin in the 12 Toyota. Walker back on the outside lane, side by side with Dylan Banks. Your defending series champion on the inside lane. He's got Hilquist all over his back bumper, but the outside once again with Matthew White prevails. White to the inside. He bails on Walker. He'll be side by side, heading through 1 and 2. Ooh, big moment there on the outside for Richard Cherry. Walker will block down low yet again. Cherry now leads the outside lane. He got Bryce Benton up there as well. $20 to go till the halfway break here in Atlanta. So they're obviously good to make it to the end after they, of course, hit it under the first caution flag of the day. Ooh, Walker, big block up to the outside with Cherry. He blocks the momentum with Cherry and Benton. Now you got Matthew White leading the inside. He will now go down the block to 7. Walker, of course, in his first Cup Series start since season number 2. So definitely getting used to being back in the Cup car here in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. How about Benton there on the outside lane, pushing Richard Cherry in the 29. His Team Chevy Motor Club teammate. They've got momentum up top. Oh, Dylan Banks, a big moment in front of his two teammates. There's Walker pulling outside now in front of Dylan Banks. He blocks. That gives Cherry the lead. Benton on his bumper as the outside stacks up even more. Benton and Cherry nearly clear. A couple of car lengths clear as they head down the front straightaway yet again. It has been such an odd race so far tonight in Atlanta. Of course, cars with damage in the back half of the field. Only about 14 cars in this main group of machines. Cars with damage back there. with some other cars that do not have any damage. They're single file here, and then there's more groups throughout the pack. To the outside goes Matthew White yet again with Aiden Walker. Dylan Banks lined up there on the outside. Sean Hilquich trying to make something work. Cherry now has to block 2 lanes. Big push back around the outside with White. Oh, Cherry Baba on the bottom of the racetrack. White is clear. Walker still all over his back bumper. Cherry on the inside lane yet again with Bryce Benton. And now Matthew White is clear. You got Landon Johnson, a lap car on the 88, stuck on that outside lane. He will be put 1 lap down. Here comes Walker yet again to the outside. Ahead of them, Cole Wilson in the 22 now being in jeopardy of being put a lap down. "50 laps into Atlanta. 13 to go till the halfway break. Wilson on the outside lane will be put 1 lap down. They roll down the back straightaway yet again. Walker, big push back around that outside lane. He gets clear of Matthew White. Banks now going to be stuck on the outside. He's got Hilquich to his bumper. 2 Cup Series champions there side by side. Matthew White and Dylan Banks. So many wins combined with the top 3 and 2 Cup Series titles. Now where's Walker going to block? He's got momentum in the bottom, and now you see the 48 of Dylan Banks. He'll come to the outside to be door-to-door with that 93 of Walker. Now Hilquich almost bails on his teammate just for a second. He gets back to the bumper of that 48 machine. Wilkin, the 30 TR car, back on that outside lane. They've been in line all night long. Been kind of really the only group of teammates that have been doing that for the most part. We've had Benton and Cherry kind of pushing each other as well, but they're definitely the biggest group of teammates that have been working together. I believe having an issue. He's pulling on pit road now as they head side by side heading through 3 and 4 yet again. Aiden Walker, your leader, once again down the front straightaway. Watch the momentum with Dylan Banks coming up outside. Sean Hilquich in that 81 all over his back bumper through 1 and 2. Oh, crash! Back straightaway! Youngblood, it's Johnson involved with Cole Wilson. What is the caution not coming out for? Johnson gets it back going, so we will stay green for whatever reason as we come to lap 55 here in Atlanta. Leave Johnson back going here once again. Banks on the outside now here with Aiden Walker down low. Hilquich still all over the back bumper of Banks as they head back into 3 and 4. Starting to wind down the laps, coming close to the end of the stage here in Atlanta. Big momentum back to the outside. Dylan Banks getting pushed by his teammate Sean Hilquich with Trenton Wilkin involved there as well. There comes Payson Lindsay to the bottom of the racetrack. Now he leads the inside lane. Oh, big bobble there for the 99 yet again. On the inside, Aiden Walker still all over his back bumper. Oh, Dylan Banks getting turned. Try to save it. There they go. They're in the wall back here. Caution going to come out. Banks, I believe, saved it. He has some damage. Hilkwich involved. We see some damage to the 12 of Trenton Wilkin. There's the 09 of John Butler just getting on by. You got Matthew Rivera in the 19 with damage. He looks like he's got some suspension damage, and that machine is not rolling as the caution flag will fly with about 4 laps to go till the halfway break. Let's take a look at what happened to bring out this yellow flag. It all started with Banks on the outside. So Banks here, just gets a bad push by his teammate, and then they check up here on the outside. Banks able to save it, a hard hit into the wall by both Wilkin. Look at Sherry slide and save, but Wilkin gets pretty torn up as well, and the 19 of Matthew Rivera all torn up in that machine. Let's take a look at what happened to the 48. Yeah, Banks gets turned, and then, hard on the wall. Take one more look at this incident, and I believe, if not mistaken, this may end the stage. Yeah, just nowhere for him to go. Hard into the wall goes Matthew Rivera, bringing out the caution flag, and I'm not quite sure. I don't think this actually will end the stage. I think we're maybe going to have a one-lap shootout for it. Means we will restart on lap 62. All right, so we won't come back to 1 to go this time, but we will be coming back to 1 to go next time by, and that'll be a one-lap shootout to the stage finish. So cars will roll off pit road here. You can see Cherry, Asbel, some others involved. Clausen rolling off of the pits. Avrilla, I believe, will get the free pass. Actually, we are on 1 to go, so we will now. I think they just changed it to 1 to go. We will have 2 laps to go to the halfway break. All right, so it'll be 2 to go to decide the stage. It's going to be Payson Lindsay on the inside lane, Matthew White up on that outside. All right. Here we go, ready to be back underway with 2 laps to go to the halfway break in Atlanta. Working the second caution flag of the night, but we're back underway from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. 2 to go to the halfway break. This is the battle for the stage. Top 10 all get awarded stage points, of course. Only one will get a playoff point, and that is your stage winner. Lindsay, a big push. Out front, he's maybe too clear. Bryce Benton's got big momentum coming. Where's he gonna swing? He'll keep out of line. Now he pulls outside. White will go with him on the outside lane. They've got momentum, and Benton is clear of Pace and Lindsay. Through 3 and 4 they go, coming to the white flag on the stage this time by. Big move to the outside. Here comes Lindsay. Final lap on the stage. Door to door for the race lead. With 1 to go. Big push. I'm sorry, that's Banks and Benton. Final time down the back straightaway. Matthew White all over the back bumper of Pace and Lindsay. Through 3 and 4 they go. Where's White going to make his move for the stage victory? To the green and white checkered flag, it's going to be Pace and Lindsay across the line, winning the stage here in Atlanta. And the caution will supposed to come out. Don't know why it's not. All right, so they will dart the pit road here. Pace and Lindsay takes the green and white checkered flag. So they will come down pit road here in Atlanta, currently under the halfway break. All right. So this is your time where you could make adjustments to your race car, get 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Off pit road first is going to be Matthew White. Second place, I believe, is going to be Lindsay losing a spot. Your stage winner off pit road. Third is going to be the 8 of Cameron Chandler. 4th, Miller. 5th, Benton. 6th, Hunsaker. 7th, Cherry. 8th, Ortiz. 9th, Walker. 10th, the 96 of Andrew Stacy. Currently under the halfway break in Atlanta. We'll be right back. As we welcome you back live to Atlanta Motor Speedway, currently under the halfway break. Your leader right now is the 37 of White Youngblood, but I don't think he's going to actually be the leader. You may have just forgotten to fit, so they will choose. And maybe Youngblood actually did stay out for some reason. They come to choose, they'll choose the inside lane. White chooses the outside, as you see further on back. Back underway for the second half here in Atlanta. So definitely kind of a weird first half here in Atlanta. Not really too much good to say with it. but we'll be back underway here once again. All right. Pace car comes back down pit road. It's going to be Youngblood and Matthew White on the front row. Back to the green flag. Second half underway here in Atlanta. Good start for that driver, the 37 on the inside lane. He's got Matthew White. Coming outside, help from Aiden Walker. He's got Payson Lindsay, though, still over his back bumper. Ashton Miller back there as well, as they head into 3 and 4. Still momentum coming from Matthew White around the top lane. He's got Cameron Chandler all over his back bumper. Haven't really seen Cameron Chandler all day, but he'll swing outside, looking to take the lead. Braden Hunsicker all over his back bumper as they head down the back straightaway. Banks on the outside tries to side draft Matthew White down the front stretch yet again. Ooh, big shove, Carlos Ortiz. Oh, as they move up to the outside, there is Hunsicker loose on the bottom. Matthew White on his bumper. We see White Youngblood trying to find a place in line there on the top. Big shove down the back straightaway with Ortiz and Banks. That 48 giving the 22 a shot. He's loose once again down the front straightaway. White rolling back inside, Hunsicker, Chandler there as well. Still a ways to go here in Atlanta. Currently you now have 50 laps to go from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Momentum coming back outside though. There is Banks and the 22. 60 laps to go here from Atlanta. Banks all over the back bumper of Carlos Ortiz as they head through 3 and 4. So still, yeah, of course, 60 laps to go, coming to 59 this time by. Long ways to go here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is, they haven't been riding around for a while, but 59 laps is definitely a very, very long time, especially at super speedway races. You can kind of just sit in line. Hillquich moved down to the bottom of the racetrack. You can see Cameron Chandler now pulling out of line. He's got Braden Hunsicker to his back bumper. Matthew White there as well. They will go to side draft. There's Carlos Ortiz on the inside. Big momentum on the outside with Chandler, Hunsicker, and White. Banks following in line there as well. There's the 37 of White, Youngblood. Sean Hillquich in the 81, and Aiden Walker. Still working outside is Braden Hunsicker on the bumper of that 8 of Cameron Chandler. See Sean Hillquich moving to the inside behind Connor Havrilla. So a bit of a comeback for Connor Havrilla. Of course, lost the draft early on, then had the pit under green, went a lap down. He's back on the lead lap here, currently running in 7th. Oh, Chandler moving to the outside. That gives the inside and the lead to Carlos Ortiz with Ashton Miller on his bumper. Cherry there as Havrilla blocks up to the outside. trying to find a place in line is Havrilla. Nowhere to go in front of Bryce Benton. There is the aid of Chandler splitting the 50. They will split him down the back straightaway. Oh, in the wall, Braden Hunsicker, Matthew White, and Dylan Banks. White's in the wall yet again. And he'll drop out on the outside lane with probably a bit of damage on that 7. Kind of an interesting moment there as we look up front. There is Chandler with help from Braden Hunsicker, but the outside's starting to kind of go away. I would not be surprised if we saw a bit of single file running for a little bit. Only still now 76 laps in. Still a ways to go here from Atlanta. Your leader right now, Carlos Ortiz, in the 21. You got Havrilla kind of now working back around the outside. He's got, oh, Andrew Stacy thought about it for a second to drop in front of his teammate, Connor Havrilla. Thinks better of it as they head back in the 3 and 4. There's Cameron Chandler getting moved up the racetrack. Havrilla just finds a place in front of his teammate. That could have ended bad. Havrilla was aggressive in Fontana 2 weeks ago, looking even more aggressive tonight in Atlanta. They will continue to fall back. Chandler and Hunsicker, they're both trying to find a place in line. You got Dylan Banks going to the outside lane. Landon Johnson, John Butler, the 36 William Reagan, teammates of Johnson Motorsports. They got an ETR car to their outside. Now you got Payson Lindsay dropping ahead of Chandler and the 77 of Braden Hunsicker. Kind of interesting to see throughout this race with the teammates. We've had ETR work together, Johnson Motorsports work together, Team Chevy, Highline, even Clear High, some other teams as well. Showtime Motorsports has been the one that really hasn't gotten together with Asvel and, of course, Ashton Miller, and then their other car, Gary Smith, leave under suspension after Fontana. Top about, I would say, 11 cars, single file on the bottom. Then you got Chandler on the outside. He's got help from the 77 of Hunsicker. William Reagan, haven't really seen him all day long. Going back to season number 1, William Reagan actually nearly ended up winning here in Atlanta. That was his last full-time season, other than this one. Of course, returns full-time to the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series in season 4. He's looking for his first career win tonight in his home race here at Atlanta Motor Speedways. They're 3 wide, splitting Connor Havrilla. Havrilla moves back to the inside lane. Hunsicker is in the wall in front of Banks and William Reagan. Kind of checks that outside back up. Oh, Reagan almost made contact with Wyatt Youngblood. Once again, still stuck on the outside. They haven't really been making progress. They've been stuck on the outside for about 10 laps straight. Braden Hunsicker and Cameron Chandler. I think they may just finally have to call it quits. And maybe finally drop up there. Now they're still having momentum back around the outside, though. Not wanting to give it up just yet. All right, so 83 laps here of 130 in the race, or of course over halfway. No more guaranteed cautions here tonight. And the fuel situation now is going to start to get interesting. So, Cole Clausen, of course you're, I believe, 1 lap down right now, but what is your fuel situation looking like currently? I don't know if you heard me. Guess having some technical difficulties here. As to the outside goes Payson Lindsay with Cameron Chandler on his back bumper. course, 46 laps to go. I don't think they're going to have enough to make it to the end if they stay green. Of course, we had that similar situation in the first half, but of course we had that early caution flag. The one caution flag in that for the first part of that first half. As Aiden Walker will drop up to the outside. He's got Payson Lindsay on his bumper, Cameron Chandler there, and Braden Hunter. So now the outside is starting to come back a little bit. I believe Connor Asbel had an issue. He currently just went to the garage. And he's 6 laps down right now. Not what your winner last week in Fontana wanted to see. Came to this race with high hopes as Hilkwich drops in front of Aiden Walker. He's going to get split down the front straightaway 3 wide. Hilkwich was running inside of the top 5. He gets split down the front stretch in the 1 and 2. And I'll drop up to the outside lane. In front of Cameron Chandler.
To give you an update on the field, we have 30 laps left.
Yes, so definitely not enough. They're about 12 to 15 laps short. So we are definitely going to see green flag pit stops if we don't have a caution flag in this second half, which is the super speedway. You don't really know what's going to happen. Here comes Aiden Walker coming back to the outside. He thinks it's maybe time to start coming closer to the front of the field. Up there on the outside with him is Payson Lindsay, as there is the 79 of Ashton Miller, nearly making a move to the high lane. Tries to side draft Walker back into 1 and 2. Now Walker back around the outside, side by side for the race lead. He's got momentum, and he's clear for the race lead on Carlos Ortiz. Ortiz back on the bottom lane with Ashton Miller to his bumper. Hilkwich trying to drop on the outside as well. "41 laps to go in Atlanta. New leader once again is Aiden Walker. Payson Lindsay still all over the back bumper, your stage winner on the 93 of Aiden Walker. You can't be on the bumper of a car for too long. You will start overheating, and you don't want to build that big of a gap. We're going to see momentum coming down the back straightaway for third on back. Still, Lindsay and Walker having a big lead by about 0.4 of a second, something you never see here at drafting style racetracks, but that should be swallowed up pretty quickly. Hilkwich just moved to the bottom there with Carlos Ortiz. To the outside goes Haverilla in that 50 machine. He's trying to find a place in line. There's Youngblood on the outside lane. Momentum coming down the back straightaway. Hilkwich in the 81. Ortiz is up there as well in that number 21 machine. Yeah, so they will get to the back bumper of Payson Lindsay yet again. Hilkwich currently running in third. As they head back into 3 and 4 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Coming to lap 94 in Atlanta. Aiden Walker, your current leader. Now they're kind of single file. As they say that, you see Richard Cherry dropping up to the outside lane. Haverilla and him think better of it. They're going to have Haverilla and Youngblood now the only 2 cars really on the top in this main group. Laps continuing to wind down here at Atlanta. 36 laps to go. And the fuel situation is going to continue to get tighter and tighter as we come closer to the end of this race. There's Ortiz back on the bottom. Ashton Miller on his back bumper. What a story it would be if Hayden Walker could go to victory lane tonight. It would be his first win since season number 2, nearly an entire calendar year ago. Over an entire calendar year ago since he last went to victory lane in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. Of course, retired from full-time racing after season number 2. Makes a one-off start here in Atlanta for Chandler Wilson Racing. He's going to go to victory lane tonight. Avrilla gets some track position. He's up the 4th place on the bumper of the 81 of Sean Hillquish. Only car on the outside is Wyatt Youngblood in 37. Youngblood's fuel situation can't be looking the best because remember I believe he just stayed out under the halfway break, but I believe he probably pitted with that restart right before the halfway break went out. So he's not as good on fuel as that other drivers, but still not very far off. But nobody can make it to the end as of right now. Single file here through most of the field. Let's go through the fields here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So, of course, your current leader, the 93 of Hayden Walker, a one-off start here tonight. Looking to go to victory lane. Currently running in second, you see the 99 of Payson Lindsay, oh so close to winning in Fontana 2 weeks ago. Looking for some redemption for his first win of the season. Of course, he currently sits right below the playoff cut line. A good finish, or possibly even a win, would probably boost him up into the playoffs. Running third currently, the 81 of Sean Hillquish, 4th. Havrilla inside of the top 5 is Carlos Ortiz. Looking a little bit further back, Bryce Benson, he's had a quiet night. For the most part, currently runs in 8th. Andrew Stacy running to the inside. He has been involved in an accident in every single Cup Series race so far this season as we are on lap 100 here in Atlanta. He currently sits 25th in points. Even a top 10 would boost his points just slightly, but he wants more than that. 30 now laps to go here in Atlanta. Havrilla kind of had a bit of a moment there, checks up the field, third on back. He'll have momentum down the back straightaway. I'm assuming he's just going to fall back and line it, but maybe he'll pitch with him thinking of something to drop to the outside. You got another group forming up there. Now you got Chandler, Hunsicker, White up there on the outside, led by Youngblood. They're going to be trying to split the 37. They will split them 3 wide down the front straightaway. Oh, Chandler in the wall. Matthew White getting back to his bumper yet again. But Hunsicker's got momentum on the top lane. Carlos Ortiz gonna go with him. And Hunsicker not gonna like the look of that. He will split Ortiz. Oh, what a big block to the outside by Havrilla. He'll drop in front of the 77. Now he's gonna dive on him once again. I mean, they're not gonna be able to make anything happen if they keep on letting people go, as there's Hillquish now going up to the outside lane. Ahead of Braden Hunsicker, they're go contact. Youngblood and Havrilla. Starting to get dicey towards the front of the field. Hayden Walker, a big block. It doesn't work. He'll be split maybe 3 wide. He just goes back to the bottom of the racetrack. You got Hillquish in the 81 back on the outside. Now there's Hunsicker on the outside lane. Side drafting the 93 of Walker as they head down the backstretch. Three wide still on back. We see Cherry Hilquich and Youngblood back there. Braden Hunsinger, a big shove by Cameron Chandler. Nearly clear for the race lead. Miller gonna drop back down low. You'll have Pace and Lindsay going back up to the outside lane. There's Matthew White and Walker kind of falling back. Nobody going with him as we see Ashton Miller go up to the top. Miller on the outside. There is Sean Hilquich involved. Andrew Stacy trying to make something work on the top lane. Aiden Walker goes up there as well. Outside, definitely not giving up just yet. Ooh, Miller almost finds a place in line. He'll push Walker, big momentum. Ooh, they kind of get checked up there. That'll kill a lot of the momentum, but the top three kind of pulling away. No organization down in the inside lane for the most part. Outside has about 6 or 7 cars. Now we see Hilquich and Miller both filling the lane. Andrew Stacy just gets in line in front of Pace and Lindsay. Contact here. Walker and the 81 of Hilquich. All right, Cole, so there's about 23 laps to go. Can you give us one quick update on the fuel?
I got 9.5 laps to go, so we're about to start pitting here probably.
All right, so pit road is going to be a busy place in a couple of moments. With Braden Hunsinger, Cameron Chandler, Matthew White currently your top three. And Ashton Miller down on the inside lane. White, Youngblood to the back bumper of Aiden Walker. There's the 50 of Connor Havrilla. So remember, they do have the pit on the back straightaway, so you do actually lose 2 laps by pitting. So a speeding penalty or something like that is going to be detrimental to your race and something you cannot afford, especially late. .21 to go. About 8 to 7 laps of fuel remaining for your leaders. Obviously, not going to be able to stretch that. We got cars pitting on the back straightaway. First of all, you got Hilquich there on the 81. He comes down pit road. Bunch of ETR cars, the 48 of Dylan Banks, 36 of William Reagan. There's the 12 of Trenton Wilkins. So the 09 of John Butler. So 5 or 6 of the ETR Alliance machines will come to pit. They will roll down on the bottom of the racetrack. Here are the cars that do stay out. And you're about a pack of 7 cars coming to pit road. What you don't want to have is get caught up on a caution flag here, as they will come to pit road. So this main group will stay out once again. Nobody in the back pits, so on this lap time, as they roll rocketing down the front straightaway yet again. 19 to go. And like they're actually, I'm surprised people are taking tires back here. At least Wilkin and Banks did. I would have thought it was just going to be a splash and go for all these machines, but as they're getting organized back here, no one pits though. They're starting to get organized, I believe. We'll see these drivers coming out pit road in just a few moments. Aiden Walker going to drop down to the inside. We'll see what a Bryce Spencer can do. It's going to be crucial for those drivers that just came off of pit road, try to gain as much time as possible. Wilkins still sitting in the pits, so a bit of an issue for him. There's Pace and Lindsay, or I'm sorry, Logan Ginsberg pitting all by himself. I believe he may have had a penalty as he comes to cycle down. There is Cole Clausen to the pits. They're single file at the front of the field, so we should see them now all organized and probably coming down pit road pretty soon. For this main group of cars, your leaders. They got a whole lot more cars than this group is now. I think White, Youngblood, another car that had a penalty. He's coming down pit road. I just mentioned speeding penalties are something that you cannot have, and 2 cars caught speeding, and we only got a 4-car pack over here from that first group that pitted. It was about maybe, I think, 7 cars that came on pit road. They already lost 3 of them. So yeah, there's no way you're going to be able to save 10 to 15 laps of fuel. So definitely going to see leaders pitting as now we see cars peeling off of pit road. 4, 5, 6 will stay out. First car that pits is going to be Andrew Stacy. There's Aiden Walker back there. He's sliding down. Bryce Benton, oh, to the inside. Aiden Walker makes up a spot on Andrew Stacy. Still got to get the pit road speed. Something that's very tough to do here. Walker slides down to the inside. Got to hope he wasn't speeding. 5 cars pit here, so another little small group. Ooh, Walker, oh, another check up there. Trying to find his pit stall. And here they come, led by Hunsicker, your leaders, the rest of the field coming down pit road. So about 3 or 4 little smaller groups coming to pit. As you got to make sure you're not speeding. Everybody coming on pit road. Matthew White looks pretty hot. So did Cameron Chandler. Stacy, Havrilla, Walker still kind of sitting here for whatever reason. So is Giesbrecht and Bryce Benton. I'm not really sure what's going on with these. Stacy, they're still on pit road. I don't really know what's going on.
They're probably taking their penalty. I don't know.
Oh, that's probably what happened, I think. I didn't know you could take a penalty like that, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think Hunsicker currently being scored your leader. Here is Hilquich, Banks, Reagan, John Butler rolling off. They're going to come with momentum down the back straightaway. We're going to have to see how the cycle's all out. 14 to go, but drivers with penalties up there. I'm surprised that they actually, so many of them have got penalties. It was very messy pit road down there, but Benton penalty, Lindsay penalty, Stacy, so many cars speeding penalties on pit road. And that leaves this group of 4 cars. You got another 3-car, maybe 4-car group coming back here. They're all going to have to try to catch back up. Coming back to 12 laps to go here in Atlanta. Green flag pit stops mostly complete. What an insane cycle it was, though. About 8 to 10 cars getting speed penalties and got momentum here. Hilquich with the bump has the 48 on his back bumper. Will have momentum heading down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. That will now leave 7 or so cars in this main group battling for the win. With 11 to go in Atlanta. Oh, Hilquich in the wall. You saw that down the front straightaway, and he is in the wall. He's got damage on the 81. Miller and Cherry falling back here once again. Lots of drivers hoping for caution flags here. I mean, just what an insane cycle. This has been already such a strange race and just got even stranger. Ortiz now going to the outside lane. He's got Dylan Banks on his bumper. As they come up to the outside real quick, let's see. There's Walker. There's a couple other cars. Wilkin, there's another group of cars. They're laps down, I think. Andrew Stacy, I believe, a lap down. John Butler has lost the draft. Currently in 10th. And they're side by side. About 3 lanes deep here. This is the battle probably for the win. And late in the race, Carlos Ortiz to the outside of Braden Hunsicker. Dylan Banks going with him. Ortiz clear for the lead. These are the 6 that were just lucky enough. So there was about 20 or so cars in that main group of machines that came onto pit road. 6 will survive in the main group for the win without speeding penalties or losing the draft. I mean, have you ever? That is just unbelievable. Over half the field lost. And oh, that is Ortiz sideways down the front straightaway. Teammates from Highline Motorsports on the outside. Hunsicker gets pushed back to the lead. 8 laps to go. William Reagan on the bumper of Carlos Ortiz, so momentum's going to be definitely very interesting as Matthew White pushes Hunsicker out front. Dylan Banks has momentum. in that 48. Your defending series champion on the bumper of Matthew White. We see Carlos Ortiz back to the outside. What is he going to be able to do? Oh, Ortiz up the racetrack big time. Gonna hope he doesn't lose the draft. We'll have momentum here, so he should be okay. 7 to go in Atlanta. The thing that could change everything is a caution flag. I mean, looking at these groups over here, they're not really racing too nicely. There's Landon Johnson, Bryce Benton. Everybody's definitely very, very frustrated back here. You're gonna need a caution flag to get back into this. They're gonna catch up to the bumper of John Butler. They'll split him up to the outside. Here's your leaders down the backstretch. Braden Hunsicker with Matthew White on his bumper. Dylan Banks currently running in third. William Reagan. What a story it could be if he got the victory here tonight. 5 laps to go. Of course, his home race, like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, was so close to winning in season number 1. Here comes Chandler dropping high. He's got that 22 Ortiz on his bumper. Momentum coming back around the outside. Where's Dylan Banks going to go? He'll stay in line on the bottom. Just 4 laps to go from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now comes Matthew White. For a second, he thought about it. Stays in line with his teammate, though. Banks staying in line with William Reagan on the bottom of the racetrack once again. Chandler and Ortiz drop back in line. Three to go in Atlanta. Of course, the last caution flag was the halfway break. Green flag pit stops over half the field with issues on pit road, including penalties and more. And this is your battle for the race lead, barring a caution flag. Coming to just a 2 to go. This time by, you gotta see moves back in the field now. Now we do see Chandler to the outside. He'll need to have other cars dropping up there with like William Reagan and the 48 of Dylan Banks. And I think they're going up there. Thought about it for a second, still need more momentum. Lap and a half to go. Down the backstretch they head. Off of turn 4. White flag in the air. Oh, Chandler loose. He'll pull outside. Final lap underway in Atlanta. Through 1 and 2 for the final time. Banks to the outside. William Reagan on his bumper. Let's see what kind of momentum they can build. Final time down the back straightaway. Banks pulls high on Hunsicker. He's almost clear. They're side by side. Here they come, door to door for the race lead. For the win in Atlanta, Banks to the outside. Hunsicker low. It'll be Hunsicker. Photo finish at the line. Hunsicker, your winner. And Banks comes home second. Oh, so close. Braden Hunsicker, first win of the season. What a finish in Atlanta. Dylan Banks made a fantastic move up to the outside. Nearly stole the victory, but it'll be Hunsicker, your pole sitter. What a fantastic weekend for the driver of the 77. Won the pole in Xfinity, wins the Poland Cup, and now wins the Cup Series race. And an impressive rebound by Braden Hunsicker after finishing multiple laps down in Fontana. What a very strange race all around, though, here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. As we'll have post-race coverage coming up. Braden Hunsicker wins, holds off. We'll take a look at the final lap and the photo finish. That all happened behind him. Overall, got to be one of the weirdest races in Cup Series history from multiple things we'll talk about here in the post-race show. So we'll start with the move that Dylan Banks, so he's to the outside. He's got help from William Reagan. What a move to pull outside. Braden almost had the block done on him, but Banks there, and then Banks was almost clear. He was maybe an inch away from being clear. They're side by side, banging down the front straightaway one final time. Here they come to the line. That's how close it was. What a finish from Atlanta. And the margin of victory was that. Wow. Oof. Riding along now with the 48 of Dylan Banks. Just got that huge run. Almost, oh so close to being clear. I think he definitely would have had the race victory all but sealed up if he got clear there. They're side by side, banging to the line, got momentum for one final time, but just was not enough at the line for Dylan Banks, and Hunsicker able to hold on that inside lane. And it's another incredible finish at here once again, a side-by-side photo finish at the line of end it, and only a 6-car pack, so kind of impressive what they were able to do with the resources that they had. Photo finish from Atlanta. Braden Hunsicker, his first win of the season. His first win since Chicagoland a season ago. He takes home victory. Banks comes home, of course, oh so close in second place. Season best finish for William Reagan. Top 5 for Cameron Chandler. White finishes quietly in third. And overall, what a crazy night. It all started out with some issues. Of course, we had a pretty good start. Kind of a weird field here tonight as well, with some other things happening with some drivers. Then we had that early lap car crash. We had a bit of an issue with the stage caution. Then we had that in full green flag run to the end. Last caution was the stage caution. And they all kept it clean. Not a single car went around in that second half of the race. So very, very impressive. And we have a photo finish with just 6 cars after 12 cars get penalized on pit road. And ultimately it's Braden Hunsicker just holding on for the race victory. Man, what a race in Atlanta. One of the most strange races I think we've ever seen. Post-race interviews coming up from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Stay tuned for them. I mean, just overall, still pretty fun race from Atlanta. And we'll have post-race interviews coming up. First up, going to, of course, be your winner, Braden Hunsicker. Braden Hunsicker, it was an unbelievable finish to the end. Of course, after I think about 10 cars get penalized there at the end of the race, it was only a 6-car pack up front. You saw Banks come to the outside, and you nearly had the block done on him. You couldn't get him. He almost cleared you, but you're still able to get to the inside. You guys banged doors for the final time and had a photo finish at the line with you beating him by I think 1/1000th of a, or 1/100th of a second. And just take me through that final lap where you get your first win of the season.
I saw he made a move on the backstretch, and I tried to block it, but he got to my outside, and going into 3, he had a massive run, and I went up to side draft him, kept even with him a little bit, and then coming to the line, he got a massive push by Reagan. I thought it was over, but Matthew came got to my bumper, and yeah, that just sealed it. But awesome race by um, Dylan, and it was a great finish. And was not expecting to win, but glad we did. And huge thanks to Matthew for sticking with me and pushing me to the win. And our team just made pretty good moves all race, executed on pit road when it mattered, and was there at the end.
So, of course, your first win of the season. It's been kind of a rough go-around. Of course, you were looking back in Kentucky, you had that Iraq. Then the last 2 weeks ago in Fontana, you had that mechanical issue. Now you come back with a victory. How much momentum and overall a good feeling is this going to give you guys heading into Bristol?
I mean, obviously it's great to have momentum. Bristol hasn't been kind to me though, but pretty sure we can work around our struggles there and be fast and contend for a win.
All right, well, big congratulations on your first win of the season. I believe also, I think it's your 7th career win as well, and your first at Atlanta. So, and we will see you in Bristol next week.
Thank you.
Coming up next is going to be your 2nd place finisher in that other part of the photo finish, Dylan Banks. Dylan Banks, oh so close to your first win of the season for a defending series champion. It was a photo finish at the line, but an impressive move there on the outside for you. A photo finish at the line. Just take me through how it all went out and just what more you needed there at the line side by side with Hunsaker.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. I'm not mad. I'm not upset. I am very content with finishing second like that. That was awesome. Shout out to Braden on the win. Great guy. Made championship 4 last year, and I don't see why he can't do it again this year. He shows up every race and does what he needs to do to put himself in position, and he did just that. I hate it, obviously. Couldn't get that win for ETR. Definitely tried, but I got to give a big shout out to William. I mean, what an excellent job he did there. It was basically 2v3 there at the end. It was 2 ETR versus basically three other guys that are on the team, and then 1 extra. So to even be in a spot like that with 2v3 basically, I mean, it just shows the effort that this team puts in week out, and how much it means to have teamwork. And I think we did that tonight. We executed on pit road, did what we needed to do, and put ourselves in a great position there at the end. And I can't even be mad about it, man. It was a great night.
Yeah, so speaking on pit road, definitely a very, very weird sequence of pit stops for with about 20 or 15 to go there at the end. So you guys with all the ETR cars, you pitted at first. You lost about 3 of them to pit road penalties. Then we lost about over half the main group, about 12 to 10 cars with speeding penalties and whatnot. And then it was just a 6-car race to the end. So how lucky were you, and how hard was it to get on pit road and not have a speeding penalty like that?
Yeah, it can be a little difficult. That's one of the weirdest pit roads there is. It's not one of the hardest, but it's definitely one of the weirdest. I think Charlotte is definitely the toughest pit road. That exit at Charlotte is very narrow, very easy to spin out and lose it. But it's a very weird pit road. You got to enter on the back stretch, so you kind of got to judge it. Try to carry as much speed as you can, getting in there and not without spinning it out and not speeding on pit road. We knew a bunch of guys were gonna do that, so we wanted to go in early because if you have 5 cars in a line at Atlanta, it's way faster than the pack. And we knew that, so we wanted to go early and try to catch them off guard, catch them sleeping. We went in, we executed in and out, got out really good, and we were hauling from that point on, and we caught the leaders back down. So it was a great job by ETR, all the ETR boys. Great effort tonight by the boys. I don't want any of them being disappointed or hanging their heads low. It was a great team effort, and that's what it takes to win these super speedway races. We didn't get the win, but we were there for it. Just almost, very close.
All right, Dylan. Well, still nice job coming home 2nd place in an oh-so-close photo finish, and we will see you at Bristol, one of your best tracks in the Cup Series next week.
Let's get it.
Absurd. I could have.
All right, so sorry about that. It's Camera Chandler just yapping. Coming up next is going to be your 4th place finisher, William Reagan. William Reagan, of course, such a weird finish there at the end. Only 6 of you guys in the main pack, but you finished 4th. It is your best finish of the season in your home race tonight at Atlanta. So you gave your teammate Dylan Banks a huge shove down the back straightaway. Nearly got him the win. Just take me through your thoughts there on the final lap.
Yeah, me and Dylan were trying to set that run up for the last lap, for the last 6 laps actually, and we knew we were outnumbered by the other team, so we were just trying to hopefully time it perfectly, and we had a great run. I gave Dylan a huge shot, and I gave him a shot at the win. Unfortunately, we were outnumbered on the bottom, but Dylan almost pulled it out, and I'm just glad I finished one of these races in the top 5 for once, especially at my home track.
All right, so of course you guys entered this race below the playoff cut line, and now this will be a great points day. I believe you also, I think you got a pretty decent stage points as well, if not mistaken. So how much momentum is this going to give you guys going into Bristol?
Fortunately, I'll be missing Bristol, but I'm glad I can get some positive momentum to tracks I actually know in the future. I'm actually excited for the next couple of races. Now I got some momentum rolling and from after Auto Club, and now getting an actual top 5, I actually feel really good right now.
All right, William. Well, nice job coming home with a top 5 finish here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway, your home track, and we will see you coming up, which I think the race after Bristol is Darlington.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that.
All right, coming up next is going to be 5th place finisher Cameron Chandler. Cameron Chandler, definitely a very odd finish and an odd race all around there at the end. You're one of the only cars in that six or seven car group that didn't have a speeding penalty or issue on pit road. Ultimately, we'll finish in 5th after a battle there towards the end of the race. Just take me through your thoughts there on the final maybe 10 or so laps in the finish.
Yeah, let me tell you, Marcus Smith, whoever the genius is who came up with the idea to tear up the old track and turn it into a super speedway and leave Texas the dog crap place it is, you need to go home. This is the worst racetrack. Texas is still pretty awful, but this is one of the worst racetracks I have ever visited. I think we ran 85 out of the however many laps. We only ran about 30 laps actually racing each other because this package sucks. You can't do anything. Oh my god. I hate this track. The crew chief has been fired for bringing an absolute stinker to the car. And, you know, we ripped off our sleeves and we were the only ones able to maneuver our vehicle into pit road safely. And that's the only reason we finished up front.
All right, so still a top 5 finish after some of the woes in Fontana. So are you going to be able to take this momentum and heading into a track that you won at last season in both Cup and Xfinity Bristol?
Oh my god, you've reminded me about Fontana. Yeah, that track too. There's a reason why that track got demolished. Good god. Yeah, I hope we don't come back there ever again. So, yeah, Bristol's one of my favorite tracks, even though I was one of them saying that it should not be on the schedule because of, yeah, we all know if you watch season 2, or season 3, whatever this season is. But, yeah, so, Marcus Smith, if you want to change something with the track, just go ahead and nuke Bristol, I mean, not Bristol, Atlanta, and, put the old track back there, because that's miles better than freaking Super Speedway. And if you want a Super Speedway, put it to Texas. Texas is awful.
All right, well, nice job still coming with a top 5 finish. Have fun going to Marcus Smith here post-race with your suggestions, and we'll see you in Bristol.
Oh, I heard he has beef with Denny Hamlin for the same suggestion, so Marcus Smith, you no longer like me, and you better not ruin Dover too.
All right, coming up next is going to be Richard Cherry, comes home in 7th. Richard Cherry, I believe you guys unfortunately lost the draft there at the end. It was only a 6-car battle for the stage, or 5-car battle for the win there at the end because of all the pit road woes. So just what happened to take you guys out of kind of contention for the win?
Transmitted. I just suck doing green flag pit stops. That's about it. I mean, I had the old tires and I didn't have as much grip, so I thought about taking 2, but it was just not going to work because I was going to lose a lot of time.
All right, so still overall not a bad weekend for you guys. Of course, you're in the full time in the Xfinity Series. We had the Darlington next. What do you guys think what do you guys think you could do there? You think you could get your second win of the season?
I don't know. I mean, there's Justin Roth and Alexander also who are really good. So let's see. I mean, if I can race, first of all, at that track.
All right, well, still nice job coming home top 10 here in one of your Cup Series starts at Atlanta, and we'll see you for the Xfinity Series in Darlington.
All right, thank you.
Coming up next is going to be Connor Haverilla. He comes home in 13th. So Connor Haverilla, it was a good race overall for you guys. Unfortunately, it's going to be a P13 finish after, I believe, a speeding penalty on pit road. So what happened there on pit road during the final green flag pit stop to just take you guys out of contention?
Bed right there, and that was enough to unfortunately take us out. We had a fast number 50 Ruku Camry or Chevy today, but we were up front for a while there until that happened, unfortunately.
All right, so still you've been showing these last couple of weeks that you've had really good speed, especially at Fontana and now tonight in Atlanta. Two back-to-back good top 5 speed weeks. So what do you guys think you could do as the season continues to wind on? When do you think you could expect to possibly find yourself in victory lane?
Who knows? I haven't let this. I don't remember what the schedule is, but next week I don't think so. Short tracks aren't my track. But if we can go to another one like Auto Club or something like that, I think we would have the speed to come out and eventually win. But you know, if we can keep these top 5, top 10s going, you know, we make sure in the playoffs. I'm happy with that.
All right, well, still nice job coming home with an okay top 15 finish after just having that speeding penalty, and we'll see you in Bristol next week.
Thank you.
Up next, going to be Andrew Stacy comes home in 14th. Andrew Stacy, after finishing, I believe, top 3 in the Xfinity, or top 4 in the Xfinity race last night, it's still, I think, your best finish of the season, but it's only 14th place. Not going to be the best points haul you guys would have wanted. And I believe you also had a speeding penalty there at the end, so just take me through on that final green flag pit stop.
Yeah, I miscalculated. The 93 car passed me through the grass. Messed me up real much. Got loose on the entrance, and I just locked up because I was focused on saving the car rather than the speed. So I was around 5 miles an hour over. We reset. We were trying to get that P13 finish there, but you know, the teammates treat me like shit, and they raced me. They raced me very dirty. I almost got wrecked multiple times. Got wrecked there at the end. And yeah, and they know my situation. They know how it is, and they race me like shit. And it's just frustrating. I'm not mad at them. I'm not. It's just like you gotta at least cover some responsibility. And they're at full refusal right now. And yeah, it was a good race though. I loved it. It was a great race. I liked the battles a lot.
So I think you got a couple of stage points as well in this, but you showed good speed tonight in Atlanta, running inside of the top 10 for a lot of the race. We're heading into Bristol next week, and then Darlington Gateway for the other 2 weeks. So kind of a bunch of shorter ovals, tougher tracks coming up. What do you guys think your expectations are for those races?
You know, I'm good. I feel like I'm pretty decent at Bristol. I can probably get a good finish there. For any other short tracks, I'm all right at. I mean, I would say Bristol is my best short track, but we'll keep going from there. Definitely, yeah.
All right, well, still nice job on the run tonight. Sorry you guys kind of got bit with that late race speeding penalty under green, and we will see you coming up next week in Bristol.
Yep.
Cole Clausen, you will finish 15th here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So you guys were running like 21st, I believe, a lap down. You actually gained some track position because I think you were one of the drivers that did not speed on pit road. So you beat drivers like Aiden Walker, Bryce Benson, Pace, and Lindsey Trent and Wilkins. So still kind of a comeback for a top 15 overall. Take me through your thoughts on that after getting caught up in that early race crash too.
Yeah, we could easily have a top 10 here tonight if it wasn't for a little friend of mine, Tyler Stevenson, actually my enemy. So let me break it down for you. You know, I'm just ripping around Atlanta like a Georgia peach, and I see Stevenson going a lap down because you know he's just a skill issue out there as per usual. And you know he starts going down on the apron on the backstretch. You know, good for him. You know, let all the guys go, and then he comes up on Cole Wilson, and they start wrecking. All right, well, that's like about 3 cars wrecked there. But instead of saving the car or holding the brake and continuing in a straight line, he decides to hook a hard left and come straight across the racetrack and tag both me and Ashton Miller. So, you know, I'm gonna protest the guy in the protest channel, and I hope that you officials can come to terms that he needs to be suspended because he's done that in Xfinity last night. He's done it tonight. He's done it in the Xfinity race at Michigan last season. It's just complete stupidness. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this guy. I think he even caused like another crash earlier this season in Xfinity. I mean, the guy's just unacceptable. He has no talent at all. By far the worst FedEx driver there is. I mean, I think I've raced with the guy like 5 or 4 times, and I got taken out by him 2 times now. But there's my rant. But you know, we're gonna be in a terrible spot in the point stands now. But you know, I don't know why I keep doing this clown show, but hopefully we can point our way into the playoffs. And man, just need some good finishes out here, man. Gonna be hard.
All right, of course. Well, sorry on that early race crash. Still nice job coming back with a bit of rebound, actually surviving pit road there at the end and coming home in 15th. And we'll see you in Bristol next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Coming up next is got 2 more to go here. It's going to be Pace and Lindsay comes home in 16th. Pace and Lindsay, it's P16 here tonight in Atlanta. Ultimately, not what you guys wanted to have. Of course, I think you had a late race speeding penalty. Just take me through what happened there to take you guys out of contention.
Yeah, just everyone coming onto pit road. We just all followed Aiden Walker when he sped there on pit road. We were all like 15 mile an hour over. Just nothing we could have done. I even locked up the tires like really hard trying to slow down. Just couldn't get it slowed down in time. But other than that, I feel like we had a really good race. We were top 5, top 3 most of the race. Right before those pit stops, we were pushing Aiden Walker for a while up front. Just unfortunate there at the end of the race, but we still got that stage win.
All right, so of course, we're coming up next week into Bristol. You guys had a very interesting encounter there last time with Nicholas Martinez, if you remember. But what do you guys think your plan is going to be to try to turn the momentum, back around, to point your way back into the playoff picture?
I think we just need to clean up the mistakes. We've had a lot of those this season at Daytona and now here at Atlanta. I feel like if we can just clean up the mistakes and just get some solid top 10 finishes, we can make a playoff run.
All right, well, nice job on the race here tonight. Sorry you guys got bit with that speeding penalty in the final green flag pit stop, but we will see you next week in Atlanta.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course, Pace and Lindsay also won the stage, so it's not bad points for him at all, but still could have been better. Bryce Benson, you finish, I believe, a lap down here after getting bit by that speeding penalty. So you still got some stage points early in the race. I think you finished, I think, 3rd in the stage, so it's going to be still decent points here in the race. But unfortunately, what happened there to get you guys a lap down with a speeding penalty?
Yeah, just simply went too deep into in a pit road and yeah, pretty much cut my race. Just rookie mistakes that cost me these races. And honestly, if I'm gonna even win a race, I can't make those mistakes. And if let alone go for a championship, I can't make those mistakes. So I don't know. I've been a little hard on myself about that mistake, but it's stuff I just have to prevent because. Yeah, it's just not something I can do if I'm gonna try to go for a championship or even a win.
So still, this is kind of like the first race all season where you guys haven't really been in contention for the win or even finishing really well. So still, it's been a fantastic start to the season so far for you guys. You entered this race 2nd in points. Unfortunately, even with the stage points, there's going to be a bit of a points hit. Stage points do help a bit. So what is going to be your plan heading next week into Bristol for the point situation and trying to get your first career victory?
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna have to try to just make up for what happened in this race. Just it does kind of lower our momentum a little bit because honestly, just really disappointed about not being contention for the win, especially because that's where I got my first league win in back in the Heat 5 days. So I really wanted to I really wanted to get my first iRacing FedEx win at Atlanta too, but fortunately, it didn't happen, but I guess we'll just have to see what happens in the next few races.
All right, well, still nice job on the race here tonight. Sorry it ended in that speeding penalty for you guys that took you guys out of contention, but we will see you next week in Bristol.
Yep.
And that will do it from the Atlanta Motor Speedway here tonight. What a day in Atlanta. I mean, overall, like, that was insane. Of course, we had that crazy photo finish at the line. That, of course, was your margin of victory over Braden Huntsicker and Dylan Banks. We hope you enjoyed the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series in Atlanta. Definitely a very, very strange race. Maybe some changes coming as well after this. Just kind of some things that happened that we really didn't want to happen, but overall, still solid finish, photo finish at the line, and kind of salvage it there at the end. We hope you enjoyed. And that'll do it here for tonight. On behalf of all officials, team owners, drivers, commentators, everybody involved in making this league what it is, we hope you enjoyed tonight's Cup race in Atlanta and the Xfinity race in Atlanta last night. We will see you next week in Bristol, where we start off Tuesday with iCar at Bristol, Wednesday possibly with lobbies, and Thursday, of course, the Cup Series from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Good night from Atlanta.